My name is Chloe. I have a question. It's not a... Well, let's imagine that you are on holidays and you see a ship with people, a wrecked ship. What would you do? A ship full of refugees. So, thank you for this question. I have a question again about hybrid cars, which I consider as better because they are produce their own electrical energy. Then you still need fossil fuel, so it's not perfect. But I would say it's better. Wouldn't that be better for the environment? Maurice? Franco Rido? Oh. Maurice was first. In a way, I have a question which is concerning me for a long time. So the ecological movement is listing up a series of measures for agriculture, for farms. I'm particularly interested in the proposal to financial aids from the state. I myself and a lot of colleagues, we have the same problem. We are helping at a farm, at one farm, in our spare time, and we are students at the agricultural school. As we are not coming from a farm, we have no possibility to have an own farm. My question to you, what kind of measures would you like to decide in order to support us? Thank you. Maurice? And still another question. We are collecting 4 or 5 questions which we could divide. What is it? Corridor, yes. I would be interested in the in the maximum consumption of electricity, which is possible. Another problem is what would you do in the case of high electricity consumption? How can it be provided or covered? Thank you. Sebastian Mostert. I have a question about the refugees. What's your opinion towards the special refugees who are better treated than Syrian people or refugees from other countries in the past? Okay, still one question, yes? Paul? I have a question about the hybrid cars. The problem is that they are still fuel-burning engines. There is a battery which is not really environment-friendly. Wouldn't be sensible to maybe get rid of hybrid cars because not really contribute to the protection of environment. Can you keep your question to the next round? Otherwise, it will be a bit difficult to stay in line. Yes, I think Chloe and Sebastian have answered a question about refugees, people who are forced to leave the country. Who would like to give an answer, to talk about this topic? Is ready? So the question was, what would we do if you see a wrecked ship or a ship in difficulties? People want to leave their miserable situation, and we cannot say, well, it's your problem and let them drown. So we have to take care of them, and sending back is not an option. So we have to welcome those people. And the question about specially treated refugees, okay. Well, you're talking about Ukrainian people who have, for whom we have foreseen an easy access to the labor market, which was not the case with Syrian people and other refugees. Of course, they have still to stick to some rules and procedures, but everything have to go faster to get out of misery. The refugees are not coming here to be on holidays, they want to integrate into society. And we have to pave the way to this possibility. As far as the special refugees are concerned, I have some family coming from Ukraine. I was very sad to see that other refugees are treated worse. Okay, but we don't have. We shouldn't think that Ukrainian people are now benefiting from a favorite treatment, which is not really true. We have to take some people from other countries. Thank you, Anastasia. Ricardo, sorry. So when you're talking about Islamophobia, I don't think that this is really a problem in Luxembourg. So it's not part of our reality. We see. The question is, we have to be able to react fast to different crises in Europe. And we are in a refugee crisis, and we have to accelerate the procedures for hosting those people. I think the network around the people should be very strong, very reactive, in order to make a better screening. This is the problem: is many refugees are not real refugees in the sense of, well, refugees coming from a miserable situation. Now we have to check who has the right to benefit from a structure and we have to react fast. In the case of the Ukraine war, we proved that we are able to react fast. And we should do it for all refugees. So Ricardo has said many correct things. The ADR is in favor to give work to people coming to our country, also waiting for the statute. It's important for the integration. So have a work, a job. The Ukrainian had some advantages because they were already talking English. Syrian people had a good level of English, but many of them only spoke and wrote Arabic. It's a different alphabet, so it took more time. Also, many language courses. I wouldn't talk about say that there's Islamophobia. But the personal question, if you see a wrecked ship, of course, save people. Of course, first of all, call the Coast Guard, which is probably better equipped than I myself, who maybe could save one life. Just a short reaction. Jonk. So I said that it would be good that people who work or have a job waiting for procedures. No, it's not that we do not want it, but we can't do it because they have no right to work. They have no working permit. So there are some procedures to follow. So if you give to them the EU statute, they can work everywhere within the European Union. Before we can do that, the procedures have to be closed. Then people can apply for a job. Of course, we would like to have faster procedures so that people remain not stuck in their situation because they are already desperate to leave the country. So we have to care for a fast access and connection to society and labor world. So if something is not technically possible, it's more a political problem. We should be more practically minded. The state can offer much more than he does. So, public works, so that people are not staying the whole day in their center. Also, from a psychological point of view, this is important. If the EU legislation is an obstacle for finding a job, well, okay, but the state should be able to give that opportunity. We didn't forget the other topics, cars and agriculture. Another question about this topic? Good morning. Robiana? So we have already internal problems in our country with housing. Wouldn't there be more conflict on the level of housing? If we accept still more people and not knowing where to place them. So, another question about people coming to Luxembourg to start a new life. So, right now, no.
My name is Daria and I'm Ukrainian refugee, so I have a very important question. I heard that Luxembourg is going to stop accepting any refugees anymore, like very soon. Is it true? Because I asked Oda, I asked Royal because nobody's ready to answer me.
You're asking if Luxembourg is going to stop accepting refugees. Thank you. Daria?
Daria.
And we have one more question, I think, Mike.
I have a question for the ADR. When I made the Smart Wielen, the application, I have seen that the ADR and Liberty, the Party of Liberté, answered to the distribution of refugees on a European level. And they were the only parties being completely against it. My question is, this has to do with integration, in my opinion. Wouldn't it be better if people are not distributed equally on many European levels, European states, there's a risk of a high concentration of crime, maybe. Or should every state look first at their own capacity to welcome refugees in order to provide for a good integration? This would be a better solution, I would say. Philippe.
Merci Philippe.
So he suggests, I suggest that we answer first to the question of Philippe, and then Daria, Jean. Thank you for your question, Philippe. I clicked this question, yes, and so it's more about the forced distribution. So we have to distinguish between what states do. So every state is responsible for themselves. So every state decides, well, we will welcome refugees or not, and the solidarity is necessary. So if you see, if you walk with a colleague through the high street and you see a hobo, and you say, okay, I give him something, I pity for himself. And if your colleague doesn't give nothing, so he doesn't give nothing, not because he's not for solidarity, but he doesn't want to be forced, obliged to do it. So who are you to tell Greece or Italy to do? So if you want to help, well, let's start in our own country. If you want to show solidarity, you can host people in your home. I don't think if the United States, for example, are very restrictive on a global level. And who are we in Luxembourg? So we have no means to force, to oblige the United States. And who are we to tell other countries what to do? If we decide to welcome refugees, we should do it, but not impose on other states to do it also. Yeah, there is the question of crime. Yes, I wouldn't say that those people are criminals, but there could be a risk of social unrest. If people are not equally distributed, that's the same problem if you concentrate too many people on one spot, not only refugees, I would say. Thank you. Again, so people get most of the time criminals when they have nothing to do, when they cannot work, and they have to get money somewhere and in a way. And if you are in a country where you do not have the right to work and you need money, what are other possibilities than to be criminal? Sorry, but you have to understand. Well, if we do everything on a voluntary level, nothing will really happen. There's a cost to welcome refugees, and a state, a country, is not necessarily interested in welcoming refugees. We have an European obligation. So the EU has the obligation to help those people and to do it together. If some states are withdrawing, it doesn't work. So it has to be, so the distribution has to be fair according to the GDP and to the population. Okay, Jonk, good? Yeah, okay. And we shouldn't forget Daria's question. Just to react. Maybe I repeat myself, but Luxembourg is going well if the EU is going well. if the EU is starting to get sick, Luxembourg will also be sick. And the refugee problem is a European-wide problem, and Luxembourg has to take up their responsibility. For us, it was clear that the Democratic Party said yes, everyone has to contribute in order to manage the crisis. So the topic of criminality as issue, if you do not have financial means or revenues, well, I don't know if you know it, but the state is giving vouchers so that people can buy hygiene products or food. Of course, this is not a lot of money. It's not money for new shoes and so on. But there is a financial support of the state. Well, so Darius' question: we as Democrat Party do not know about a general stop of migration. So please, it's up to you to decide on October 8th. So there was the specific question. We as Young Green are in favor of giving jobs to refugees. They come to a country and they have a hard time at first. They have to have some work. They have to be also it's like also that the diploma are recognized. So many people, many refugees are educated people, have diplomas, have degrees, and which have to be recognized and accepted in Luxembourg, so that people can work on their level. So, and companies should be supported for taking up refugees as labor force. Yeah, the housing problem. We have not enough housing space in Luxembourg for our own people, and now when there's a wave of refugees coming to a country, so we say that on a local level we have to cooperate. Many housings, many buildings are empty. So if we could give them to refugees, the situation would be easier. We have to invest much more in social housing. In the last 5 years we have reached a lot. So we started from 40 million euro and we now invest 300 million euro into social housing. So we are offering housings according to a system like in Vienna, where they invest a lot in social public housing, so that people have a possibility to live, especially for people who are below the social ladder. So this is reaching the middle of our society. These are housings for everyone. We are more or less at 600 millions, and we would like to increase that figure to 800 millions, not only for Luxembourg people, but also for housings, for refugees. Thank you, Amy. So a lot has been said of what I would like to say also. What would be the most important topic? Yes, labor for refugees, fastening, accelerating procedures, massive investment into public or social housing. Of course, we will not reach the same amounts like in Vienna. So this will take some time. The idea of this project is good. We should go on this way. Create new housings for people coming to Luxembourg. Yes, there was this question of the stop of migration of refugees. The answer is very clear. When the LSAP is in the government, there will be no stop, neither with the other parties. So solidarity must be kept on. So you should read the ADRenalin program, the program of the Right Party, and you see that they have a problem with the refugees. In the matter of distribution of refugees, you see that the countries like Poland and Hungary constantly refuse to accept refugees. That's the situation, and you have to criticize it openly. Well, Europe is functioning according to this system of solidarity. There shouldn't be any exceptions. Especially in matters of refugees, solidarity has to be a priority. Yes, there was the question of revenues, financial income. Yeah, people are supported. Well, I would be glad that people could find work, and we, as the only political party, say that they should have a work during the asylum procedure. So you say if we do not force the other countries, nothing will happen. I don't know what you mean by that. There are countries which are less rich than Luxembourg, and so if you do not force the other ones, nothing will happen. Well, I don't agree. Every country has its reality, financial reality. So we are not talking only about a European problem, but a global problem. So you say we should also watch what other countries do, not only Europe. So we have to promote solidarity in Europe. If we talk with one voice, maybe we can manage to get the United States on board. But if in Europe there are some disagreements, we will certainly not convince the other continents or nations outside Europe. So we as Luxembourg, we cannot impose something to other countries. And we have to reinforce Europe. So it has to be decided on the top. This is necessary. So the European Union has to be united in this question. Unfortunately, some people are refusing refugees, and so it also depends also on the capacity to welcome refugees or more people. Well, I'm eager to answer. So we are here at school. It is a really international and European school. So just look around Jugend to see how Europe is functioning. Well, I make the link to housing. There is a concern, yes. That there is not enough housing. It's not easy. It's not easy to get a housing, and it seems to be unfair to give a housing to someone else and not me as a citizen, someone who's working. So in the tunnel of housing there is a file, Lecuit, well, there was the COVID crisis, but even before the parties in the government have not done enough. In the meantime, 110,000 people have come to Luxembourg, and we didn't follow this move. That's why we are now in a crisis situation, and we have to react faster with less complicated procedures, and to build higher and denser in order to manage the housing crisis and to have more a broader offer. That there shouldn't be any impression that someone gets favorized in a matter of housing. So we have heard several times that Europe should be stronger, and there should be more acceptance. People should understand some phenomena. So the Pirates have some ideas about a new organization of the distribution of people. What's the task, the role of citizens on the European level? We need a European distribution key. So this is there's no matter of doubt. As far as the participation of citizens is concerned, we have an approach where we are in favor of a general civic participation by the way of petitions or referendums at the parliament. So we have to reach a certain figure, a certain threshold, but for us it's not enough. So the parties should be obliged to express themselves, and so now it's just a matter of discussion behind closed doors, and this has to change clearly. Then we'd like to have a civic council, so a representative group of people. We have the problem in our country that the high percentage of people have no right to vote, cannot influence any decision, and at different political parties there are not many foreign people, or some parties are not questioned, though they have their opinions. So there must be a civic council, a representative group of people elaborating projects or opinions about law proposals and being in direct contact with the parliament. And we would like to have a citizen budget. So for the elaboration of projects on the citizen level. This would be a good possibility to ask the public opinion and to find new solutions stemming directly from the population and following democratic rules. So it's all about a larger debate. The question of housing of refugees. So people say, we don't get any housing and our refugees get a housing. So housing is a topic now for a couple of years. There are new investments, but still we need to get many more new ideas. So new types of housing, especially for young people, and the political world has neglected them for too long. In other countries, these forms, these types of housing exist. So we have to search for contacts with people in order to get new solutions, new ideas. So we have to find a solution for everyone living in our country who wants to live here and who wants to participate and be part of society. Thank you, Josiane. Anastasia, you haven't taken the floor in this round. What would be the idea of the left? So specifically as far as housing is concerned, so what the problem could be solved by the fact that housing is not considered as luxury. So especially empty houses should be taxed. Otherwise, we have a housing crisis, which we have now. The left is favoring social prices, so not going beyond 25% of the income. So everyone can afford a good housing, a normal housing, yes. Because 13% of the Luxembourg population are the working poor. Even working, they are poor. Thank you, Anastasia. So let's not forget the other questions. There were questions about hybrid cars and electric cars. A question from Lou about electric cars. Amy? Yes, Amy. I would like to react shortly to the comment of Josiane. Yes, I agree with the Civic Council, but I was extremely surprised by reading the different programs that most people have translated the programs. Are not translated, the Green have translated everything in 4 languages. So it's sad, most parties have their program, but not in different languages. So this would be a means of taking people by the hand. Now, hybrid cars, are they more sustainable? Is it more reasonable? We still have the bonus for hybrid cars, well, but not for very long, because it's not a sustainable solution. It's just a transition solution, but we should now leave those going away from engines which are consuming fossil fuels.
Auch eine ganz interessante Überlegung. Momentan hat man das Problem nur noch nicht. Wir sind auch der Meinung, dass das schon erst der Pakt, es geht noch nicht um
So we, as far as the maximum electricity consumption is concerned, and we try to cover this high consumption, which could be a reality. It is not now, so we keep this in mind. Further feedbacks?
Ja, ich fand auch die Moritz
Ja, schon dann hat ausgestreckt Jonk an
a remark here. We have offered our program in different languages. So we lacked resources and capacities and personnel. But our program is available in Luxembourgish, French and English, but it took just more time to have it translated. I don't know what are your capacities, but the most parties have more capacities than the Pirate. It's a question of resources, financial means and time. So today you cannot. You have to offer your program in different languages. So as far as electric cars are concerned, so it's a kind of well, hybrid cars are also a form of fossil fuel burning engine, which shouldn't be on our roads any longer. So the grid, the electrical grid, so it is, we have to adapt our electrical grids. I think other parties agree. We have to keep the investments on a high level in order to have a stable grid. And I think we have the right companies who are able to do it in our country. Thank you, Josiane. And are we ready for e-society? So there were 3 questions about electromobility, bonus, hybrid cars, and the third question about the grid. I tried to make a synthesis in order to give an answer to the 3 questions. First of all, the financial aid. Hybrid cars are consuming fuel, yes, but there's the battery, yes. Well, all technology has advantages and disadvantages. The e-car has some advantages compared to the fuel-burning car. If I'm on my way the whole day in the city, where I brake a lot and I start a lot, an e-car is consuming much less energy than a fuel burner. But outside the city, there is no really any reason to buy an electric car, even if I get financial aids or if I'm obliged to buy an electric car. Third question about the grid. We have heard many answers. Maybe not the more unpleasant part. Our grid needs a certain quantity of electricity which has to be at our disposal. This is difficult to realize and to guarantee with wind and the sun. When there is no wind and no sun, there won't be any electricity. And I cannot charge my electric car. So what would we like to have? Still electricity by fossil means? No, that's not exactly what we want. Then there are CO2-free nuclear plants, which are really reliable, but still presenting disadvantages. We are in favor principally for electric cars, but also in favor of fuel-consuming cars. But people have to decide according to their personal situation and their possibilities. Well, nuclear energy is very controversial topic in Luxembourg. It would be a good idea to have a referendum so that people could express their opinions. Now, we have now arrived at the topic of energy. Well, I have the impression that the ADR would like to give an answer to all questions by referendum. So I would say, we haven't talked about hydrogen. It's an extremely new energy, which has not been developed as far as electricity. But we see a great future, especially for trucks and big companies, also for the private user. Okay, this is maybe still very far in the future. So there will be some interdiction of building fuel-consuming cars, but you can still use it, even sell it. But this is a matter of interpretation by ADR. There's no interdiction now to use a fuel-consuming car. Well, okay. We should also use natural resources which are not very far here from Luxembourg. Hydrogen sources. An intermediate question? First, Maya.
Genau, wollen wir nur mal kurz bei diesem Thema können bleiben. Okay. Ein Question from Lou, oder?
Another question from Lou. How do you imagine the production of hydrogen in the future, and how and where can we store it? How would it be accessible for the private normal user or consumer? Ricardo, right? I'd like to react to the question of Maurice. I think we should opt for a good mix of renewable energies. That's the key, I think, which is lacking today, in order not to concentrate only on one thing. Hybrid cars. Post-administration had many hybrid cars and lorries because they had short ways to ride. And the cars were running permanently in the electric mode, and when they got over the autonomy of electricity, they had problems with the hybrid engine. So you have to make tests with different possibilities in order to find the right solution. Post is a huge company, but again, we have to invest massively in the renewable energies in order not to be dependent on one kind of energy or resource. So we have a share of 11.7% of renewable energies. We are on the bottom of the scale in Europe, so we do a lot, but it's not enough. We are still in a crisis where we have to react fast. So procedures should be made easier. I'm sure that we will come back to this topic. Now, there's the time for the question of Maurice, the question about agriculture. So how can people have the possibility to get their own farm? Thank you. Maurice, for your patience. You have an interesting question. I'm working at the Ministry of Agriculture, and I'm close to this topic. So you have a death toll among farms, even for vineyards. But we shouldn't forget one thing. We have been talking about hybrid cars, electric cars, renewable energy, and all this is originating in the climate crisis. And the farmer is working every day with nature, and he's seeing the climate change. So he is getting his resources out of nature. It's great that you are so much interested in this profession, that you take a lot of pleasure to work in agriculture. This is really cool. But according to the law, you will not get any financial aid if you just enter in agriculture without any formal education. So local production is playing an important role. We are saving a lot of transport around the globe. We have a very high quality of products, the level of wine and fruit and vegetables. And I can imagine, well, I know that it's possible to be a farmer without any education. And it should be possible to strengthen local production. I see Josiane, Jonk. I'm coming indirectly from the sector. We have a farm taken over by my brother. I'm very open to this idea. The problem is that so at the beginning it seems very interesting if you start a farm, but a farm is very technical, but you have to know many different points. So the education has to be right, but it's not enough. If you have no farm where you can work at, all this is leading to nothing. So you have to see how can the state help those people in form of education and then financial aids. So education without any farm is useless. So so the state has to give the means for the people who want this job. If you have no farm, you can take over within your family. It's very difficult. The financial needs are so high that you have to take up a very huge credit, which you will have a lot of pain to pay it back. Thank you, Josiane. Boris? So I didn't mean someone who has learned something completely different and decides to be a farmer. No, I've been working at a farm and I'm spending all my spare time there. Or people who are students at the agricultural school and have their degree, but they have no farm at home. That's the people I'm talking about. It's nearly impossible to build up an own farm. These are investments you cannot pay. A tractor costs more than 200,000 euros. So a small farm needs less space, smaller machines. So it's enough for a start. But a farmer has to build a stable for a couple of millions, and he's working all his life to pay back the credit, if ever he will manage to pay back. Well, first of all, thank you for all these questions. It's always good that young people want to be independent. And Josiane has said many things I agree with. Now, concretely, you have been talking about the work at the farm. the state should buy farms or land sold by farmers and give it to people who want to start a farm. But this shouldn't be linked to conditions, let's say 100% bio or so on. This would be an idea which we could defend or promote, though there are many details to settle. This would be very useful for agriculture. So it could be a kind of startup initiative, especially for agriculture. And also the conditions could be limited or reduced for all farmers. This would be give more possibilities for financing farms or startups. So you also have to consider the fact that the government or the political world is oppressing the small farmers. I know many farmers just here in the region who stop and where you cannot continue to exploit the farm because it's too demanding or too difficult. And the small companies small farms are really dealing with animals and machinery. The government is sustaining especially big farms, like in the north of the country, a farm who has 500 hectares. I think Amy and Anastasia didn't have the floor for a long time now. A short notice. You have been talking about small farmers, and in the two questions you already gave the solution. So cooperation with the existing farms, so that people coming from school could be integrated in an existing farm. But and I can imagine that this could be a good solution for people who want to take over a farm and who want to continue the work on a farm. This could be a solution in the future, supporting farms. Anastasia? So we need a change of mentality. And we have to find new ways enabling such a solution as you suggest. You certainly know many young people who live the same reality. And I'm with Amy, so a change of paradigms. So to show the to create groups of young people fighting for the same objective, the same aim. And many farmers are alone. They work from early in the morning till 10 o'clock in the evening, and they are too tired to take part in social life. So we need new forms of entrepreneurship, of cooperation. This would be a new economic model.
Ja, sicher schon, Lënster macht schon
Yes, I agree with Ricardo. We need generally a new economical model because the old one didn't work, especially in agriculture. So everything has gotten bigger, faster, etc. But this isn't working anymore. We touched the limits. Especially small farmers and young farmers have to be supported. This would be the first step. So we should find new forms. And agriculture is a very fascinating, interesting model where there will be an evolution. There is the biological sector, but also local production and so on. Local farms are playing an important role. We have to produce locally and support the farmers on the local level. So, Philippe, I see that we are ready for a series of new questions and ideas.
J'avais une question, c'est pas par rapport à ce sujet, d'accord. Lecuit, c'était votre association, enfin Fokus. On est d'accord que, donc en gros, vous mettez
Fokus agrees with the investment in housing for students. Or
Merci Chloé pour cette question.
Thank you, Chloe, for this question. I suggest that we gather 2 or 3 questions first. So it's a question to all parties, especially the pirates. You are especially a party who is defending the rights and the protection of pets and animals, but the problem is all the asylums are full. And people taking cats and dogs from Romania, Bulgaria and so on. And at the same time, animal asylums are full. Or the cats are too cold, or too old, or the dog is too old. So during COVID, people wanted many pets at home, and after the crisis they had to go back to the office and they couldn't afford or spend their time with the pets anymore. My question to the Lénk, to the left. So the left are claiming for a higher minimum salary, but how can it be financed?
Merci Amélie für das Buch.
Thank you, Amélie. Let's switch to the other side, maybe, Philippe.
My name is Darshan. My question is, so if Luxembourg has so few houses, why doesn't it construct just large apartments like other countries do? This question to all parties.
Thank you, Darshan, for this question, and I see Sebastian also still has a question, but Philippe, first over here.
Lisa Schreiner. You have been talking about the support of small farms. So in Luxembourg there are not many places for education on the spot, on the farm. So if I want to do it, I have to go to Germany. Thank you, Lisa.
Ich wollte nur fragen, also Sie gerade ich meine, die letzten 2 Jahre ist die Kriminalität in Gewalt 40% hochgegangen. Die Kriminalität aus 7,5% hochgegangen. Generalsatisfaktion aus
So in the last 2 years, There's been 47% of Luxembourgish people are living just with the minimum existence level. 6.6% have no job. This is 10% higher than EU level. Then we have the housing crisis. The rent for a house with one sleeping room costs 1,600 euros. Why don't we invest more in Luxembourg than abroad? What would you do to offer a different perspectives for young people, especially or in a free time?
Merci, David. Okay,
Well, these are 6 questions. Who has the courage to tackle the first question addressed to you, Amy or Ben? Ben, I think. Yes, the minimum salary. It's also a claim of the LSAP. For non-qualified people, the minimum salary is 2,570 euros. So you have to live on this salary, of course. Otherwise, you are living at the level of poverty. We have also an attractive labour market. We made a good policy in the former years. So the companies have to be motivated to offer more jobs. And now we have the problem that many jobs are not covered, that we have a lack of labour force. So the offer is sometimes higher than the demand is sometimes higher than the offer. And we need also people coming to Luxembourg in order to work here. We need them for our economy. And we have to remain attractive. And we have to launch an offensive in order to attack the housing problem. Especially the Ministry of Interior, Tyner Boffening, or the LSAP has done a lot, so there has been a change of mentality, so that more and more houses are transferred to the public management, to the state, so that the price can be influenced. We do not want to earn any money, otherwise we would be on the private market. And if you reach a certain percentage of the market, the rent for other housings will go down. Which reach 25% of all housings being in public hands. Now we are at 3%. So in Vienna, over 50% are in public hands, and we need a strong minimum salary and a real offensive in the sector of housing. Well, the topic of minimum salary, Anastasia, if I understood well, so how would it possible to finance the minimum salary? Well, it's simple. Taxes on legacies, rich, high income, big companies who do not pay any taxes. Thank you, Anastasia. Yes, there have been some questions about the minimum salary. and poverty. So there has been a lot of talk about the minimum salary. I would say that the most important, especially for young people starting on the labor market, is that the minimum salary should be tax-free, be it qualified or non-qualified. The ADR, we submitted such a claim at the parliament. The CSV has supported it, the pirates as well. But unfortunately, the majority, the government has refused it. So what we need is an indexation of the imposition, the tax table, tax sheet. We have never really adapted the tax table. The state has taken a lot of money, and money which was not really due to him. Thank you, Jean. I would like to react to two questions. The question about higher buildings, as I said before, so it's important also for the CSV that we, on places where it makes any sense, that we build higher and more dense, so to raise the level by 2 or 3 stories. For Luxembourg, it's already a lot. This has really an impact, and we should have the courage to do it. So in the center of Echtana, nearly 1 house of 2 is protected for historical reasons. And that's why I say there where it makes sense, we should build higher buildings. You're right. This would solve a lot, or help a lot. Then try. Well, let's stay with this topic. Now 2 questions. If it is okay with you, yeah? Anne? So, there was a question about hydrogen, no? So you ask, well, the hydrogen is there. There was a question about production of hydrogen. So there is a pump station in France with natural hydrogen. It just has to be exploited. Storage is no problem. Well, I'm not an expert. So hydrogen can be stored and can be used when it is needed. As far as the private consumers are concerned, of course, in the last 20 or 30 years, there has been a massive investment in electric cars, and now I'm not against electric cars, I'm in favor. It's a solution, but we cannot just put all the eggs in the same basket. Hydrogen would be good, would be fit for big vehicles, buses or lorries, trucks. That will be the future. So we can hope that in 20 years or 15 years, hydrogen can be a possibility. And well, this is still some future thing, but it could be an alternative to electric cars. Then a specific question about your party, Fokus. I haven't well understood the question. So there was a question about Fokus as political party. Yes? then there was a question about student housings. No?
Vous avez parlé, enfin si j'ai bien compris, pardon, que Fokus, à un moment donné, vous avez dit que
So Fokus has said
les étudiants à payer
that
leur logement.
the students will be helped by paying housing, so
Vous avez
rents.
parlé de
No?
logement et d'hébergement, tout ça.
Also über Subventionen für Studenten.
So financial aids in order to support students paying their rent. But we can, coming back to it at the end. So let's stay with the same topic. So we have been talking about the risk of poverty. For us, it's important. Well, we have to be conscious of the inflation, a supplementary problem. For our party, it's important to strengthen the buying power. Well, they have many free services, children care, school, etc. So the households are really freed from a couple of costs. For example, €300 for school books. So these are means in order to alleviate the financial burden of households. And the index has to be maintained, of course, and there has to be a consideration of the progression of the buying power in the imposition, in the taxation. And it's important to foster the buying power by a unique taxation category. So in order to take into account children. So we need a personalization of taxation. So independently if people are married or not, this is a personal choice and should be not figure should be found back in a tax declaration. The others do the other agree with the unique taxation category? Well, everyone. Fine. So Claire, we have to deal with a couple of other questions. There was a question about animal protection. So we have to sensibilize and inform people. Many people consider pets as well as nice little animal, a good company, but they do not really understand that they have to really take care of an animal. So the people only see a sweet pussy, a sweet doggy, and they just take it. Not thinking about the consequences, because an animal is you're responsible for it, to feed it, but the dog needs activity, mental activity. We have to play with him, to go out with him. And people should stop considering animals as an object. It's a being which has emotions. And very often, people during Corona felt lonely and took up a pet. Then they get back to the office and they see that they have no time for the animal, for the pet. And then they give it back or give it to an asylum, which, of course, are now full. So an animal is not an object. You can take or give or put somewhere in a corner and leave. People have to be informed about the consequence, about their responsibility. Thank you for this feedback, but time is a bit short. Well, then taking up animals from abroad. We see this very critically. It's a nice gesture to take those pets, but we have enough animals here. Maybe first choose an animal in our country, in our asylums.
Merci, Josiane.
Thank
Ich
you.
bin noch so froh, spezifisch froh,
There are two questions. First of all, a question about small companies, and David talked about criminality, crime, the crime rate. Amy and Ricardo. Thank you. I wanted to talk shortly about youth crime. You said that many young people are consuming drugs and alcohol. Well, of course, I like to go out, but effectively, this is a kind of problem, and it still is a problem. There are not enough spaces where young people can gather and find other hobbies. Youth houses could be a start, or clubs, a meeting point to share the hobbies. And school is playing an important role by offering different possibilities. And partially the state is developing means to discover other hobbies. At the local elections, we decided to spend money for cultural and sports aims. So people who have less money can benefit from sports activities. This can prevent, in a way, some crime. Another topic is, or means, is information of people. So invite people regularly to schools, how to explain how bad alcohol and drugs are. So information about it is very important. It's a reality. And it's contributing to a lot of crimes. Thank you, Amy and Ricardo. Answer to the question about the support of small companies. Yes, I join the idea of Claire, so that such projects have to get attractive on a taxation level, so that people are motivated to start a small company. There are still good initiatives on the way. Coming from startups, housing of entrepreneurships. So if you have such an idea for a startup after finishing school, they can help you the best. They take individual measures in order to support your project. During some time, in order to see what is possible in the framework of a business plan. The C-suite gives us a starter kit till the age of 30s, an alleviation of the tax burden for young people starting their professional life. Thank you, Ricardo. I think it's time now for us voting. In 10 minutes we have to stop officially. Now, so I look at Ms. Bouchon. There's no opposition to who would like to start earlier than a quarter to 12. Who would like to stay 10 minutes longer? It's more or less 50-50. What's our opinion? So the candidates are opting for solution 2. So we have still space, time for 2 or 3 questions.
Vielleicht Ihnen noch kein vorgestellt wird.
So, voilà. But I have a question about the taxation group, so categories. So we came, we went to Germany with the whole family, and we got €1,000 less, and they told him, my father, so, that he had to wait for the reform of the new taxation system. Malik? I have a question about alcohol, drugs, and young people. Yes. Other people say we have to avoid this, all this.
Ich meine, das Problem ist prinzipiell halt in der Gesellschaft wird als Idiot, wie nicht Idole, ja. Zum Beispiel, du werden mal denken, das ist cool, oder werden mal Sachen.
But the problem is that society shows us that it's cool.
Zum Beispiel, ich gesehen,
and there's also the peer pressure.
An der Stadt, in Musik, alles da. Ich fand das auch nicht viel andere Optionen außer da.
There are not many other options.
Nur Mods machen, zum Beispiel Illustrieren isoliert oder halt fällt hinaus aus der Gruppe, zum Beispiel Philippe das nicht schwarz sind, weil sie noch so nicht ist. Wenn zum Beispiel ich war erst mit meinem Motto und dann so.
And in the youth center sometimes it's a bit forced, and you are a bit isolated from society, from the local level.
Warum will ich rauszukommen? Weil dann, wenn man dann ernst in der Schule ist und dann an die Uni geht, dann ist es so dick kompliziert, so historisch so Tendenzen zu erklären. Zum Beispiel so, dass wie es früher war, zum Beispiel Jonk, wie dann sonst noch, wie man das schafft, also die Histoire, da wissen so mehr, dem vertrauen ich nicht, dem kann ich nicht vertrauen.
And sometimes if you have, if you had a problem with alcohol and drugs, you have some history, and in a new environment, people do not trust him, and that's one of the major problems. Thank you, Malik. Question about isolation, the lack of cohesion. So you see, we have many questions still left. Maurice, Goya. Oh, here, over here. Well, anyway, after the meeting, we will stay here. You have the opportunity to still to debate in a smaller circle. Yes. Hello. I have a different question. We have been talking about housing. What about about us? People have problems at home when you have to leave home. The waiting lists are much too long. You have to stay at home even when it's not going well. Even when leaving home would be the best option, and you're still dependent from the parents. How would you settle that? There are some homes where you can stay only 2-3 days, but this is not a long-term alternative. Dana? Sorry. Okay. Now I think it's time for the last round. So everyone has 1 minute. Oh, it is 35 already. So my watch, it was 30. if you have another one. Okay. Anyway, thank you to those who stay for the final message. I think people are really hungry now, or became hungry, because of our debate. I thank you a lot. I would say we start. Just short. It won't take long. But the meal is just outside. It's not out of reach. Well, now the final round. Amy, are you ready? So, just take the floor. So just answer the last question. Oh, no, just the final message you would like to give. No? Yes, we can stay longer. Well, I would say a maximum 10 minutes. Very short. I come back to your question about the infrastructures or institutions for young people having problems at their home. Yes, these solutions have to be extended. They exist, but we have to enlarge the network, also in cooperation with private people or companies. Maybe also in cooperation with people who would like to welcome young people or people in order to give their transition solution. It's important to give the right information or to the sensibilization. Very often young people do not dare to say something. So what we claim is that the presence of a psychologist, of a doctor who would support people, young people to say something or Wow. Final comment, thank you for the interest also for green topics, gender studies and so forth. Yes. Yeah, Amy, then Ricardo, yes. Yes, that's a problem. There are not enough places for young people having problems at home. Well, if you have a physical problem, there are the emergency. But if you do not feel right, this is taking much too long. I could talk for hours about care problems, but you have to look at the problem itself, which is maybe a long-term problem. So we have to learn to put empathy in the forefront. So we need people who are fit to live in a society. But it's a shame that mental health has been compromised by this COVID crisis, and it's very important to react. You're talking about the Petrus house, the Petrus home, where you can go to anonymously, and you can stay for 5 days, and then you have to leave. Then we have the National Office for Childhood, which has taken a lot of financial aids by the present government. So, this is good address, the Office National de l'Enfance. So we need, like in the housing domain, we need structures. It's not enough to react to one problem, but try to get out of the tunnel, to enlarge the offer. This is a spiral which has to be broken.
Vielleicht können wir dann noch verwandeln mit dem Marques, den vorhin hat, Isolation, Peer Pressure, ugeschwart.
Yes, the question to Ricardo has well answered to the question. Many problems are due to the housing. Many people cannot afford the housing in Luxembourg. Many young people who are living abroad, but are still registered with their parents. They have much more problems abroad with taxes and so on. So far. Of course, the people have to be motivated to stay in the country. What Marques said. So what is, if you got into trouble and you want to get back, to come back to professional life? Well, this is a question of social or of mentality of the society. There is the right to fail and the right to have a second chance. If you have learned something, so to have the opportunity, the chance to prove one's ability on a job. Josiane, what has been the most important point? Just to get back to Marques, it's certainly a topic in connection with mental health. So we have to support young people much more and to support them more in clubs, youth centers. So we have to offer much more institutional structures in order to prevent some deviations to dangerous situations. Yes, there's still a lot to do on that level. Thank you, Josiane. Ben? Just to talk about the taxation question. So we have three categories. So the LSMB has a very concrete suggestion concerning taxation. We do not want any new. We want a new taxation group which is fair. Especially for middle classes and lower classes. So if you have a salary of 4,000 euro today, with us you would pay 180 euros less. So we can have lower taxation, it's not socially fair. And we try to look for an equilibrium. So, thank you, Ben. Anastasia. Well, the question of peer pressure. I'm referring to Roy Ollingwong. So that there should be places in society where you can meet without spending money. most of the time you're forced to drink something or to take drugs. But there are other places where you don't have to spend the money and you can meet.
Merci Anastasia. Und dann waren wir noch gespannt über Schlussmessage von Claire auf dem Arm.
Claire and Anne.
Schlusswort wird von Claire, du fängst an.
Ich fange an und ich will doch bei dem Malak auf
Yes,
Drogen, Alkohol,
drugs, alcohol, etc.
Gefühl, dass
I have the feeling that young people are going into extremes. So some people are really conscious about their health. That's very important. On the other side, you have the extreme. So you have to find a balance. This needs prevention and also anti-mobbing, which is a topic which can be much better solved than in our generation. TikTok and Snapchat, you have to be conscious about the dangers. So it's a cool communication medium, but also very dangerous. I'm a club member and in a club life you can interact and learn many social competencies. One subject is inclusion, which is working well by passing over clubs, music or sports, by the engagement of parents and children. That's also what I like to do in politics. That's why I'm in the Democrat Party. We like to do it for you. That's a reason for my activity. I would say the team capacity was very high today. It was very inspiring. Now, I will not open a new subject. So I'm watching the time and everyone wants to eat. Thank you all for being here today. It was for me a pleasure. Also the questions you have asked, I see that you have many reflections and thinkings. And for October 8, everybody has a short version of the program. Some parties have podcasts or something on Instagram. So with short explanations, and it's important, your opinion counts. Go vote, and you decide on October 8 also about the future of Luxembourg. Thank you all for your energy, for ideas. Thank you to school. And thanks to the Youth Council, to Rainer, the interpreter. Yes, also thank you for the neutral, impartial moderation. We would like to take a picture together, a group picture. So stay put and try to get on the picture. 1 second. Yeah, please stay. We go together, so watch the cables. Do not step into the cables on the ground. Thank you for your participation. I had the feeling that you have mutually supported you, which is maybe not the case with the elder colleagues. So thank you a lot from our side.